Okay. All right, everybody. Hey, guess what? It is currently 5:06. I know we're a little bit late, but I'm tired as hell. And yeah, it's Sunday, February 3rd, 2019. And Ed is still not here, so we're going to be basically opening up the floor very soon and enjoying just a little bit of conversation, our viewpoints. Now remember, I'm just going to put the show disclaimer out here onto YouTube so that we cover our assets, whatever you want to call them. And we you know, it's a really slow day today. You got so many people watching this stupid bowl. So many people that have already watched it figure out who won, who didn't. And you know what? It's all scripted. Everything's scripted nowadays, from the high school shootings all the way down to the lunch lady, or not the lunch lady, the bag lady that goes out and helps saves little puppies out of the river. It's all scripted. Anything on the news or on your TV is scripted. When you get that through your thick skulls, that's whenever you'll actually start opening your eyes and realizing, oh, it's all one big programming scheme. So wake up, everybody. Do your own research. I mean, one of the best sayings I've heard is, in an age of information, which we are in now, in an age of information, ignorance is a decision. If you're listening to this on YouTube, guess what? You can get on the computer and research a lot of this stuff and really research it, not just go to Snopes, which has been even admitted that they do not, they're not 100% accurate. In fact, they'll even make up stuff. Snopes is not reliable. What's reliable is, I don't know, your own research instead of getting the quick fix. But if you're into a quick fix, don't even bother with this show. Get out of this show. Because it's taken me a couple of years to get as safe as I am, and I'm not 100% safe with me and my family on the affidavits and stuff. I've still got another affidavit to do. That's going to take 30 days up there, well, 21 days, up in the courthouse. I leave it up for 30 days just to make sure everybody's got a little extra time. Then I need to get it certified, and I need to get it sent out to the Secretary of State. I need to put a copy of it into the museum. I need to put a certified copy. I need to post it over there at the sheriff's office, at the state police office here in town. I got it at the town police officer's place. I mean, effectively, there's a lot of work to do. If you want a quick fix, stay a slave, just do what they tell you, keep your head down, and eventually they'll take you to the chopping block. Now, for those who are willing to stand up, do the research, and actually get off their lazy Super Bowl watching asses, here's something that even Ronald Reagan, and what he dealt with and everything was scripted too. This is Ronald Reagan's little thing. It's short, but it works.
You pointed out that police would be so busy arresting handgun owners that they would be unable to protect the people against criminals. It's a nasty truth, but those who seek to inflict harm are not fazed by gun control laws. I happen to know this from personal experience. You know, I've always felt a special bond with the members of your group. You live by Lincoln's words. Important principles may and must be inflexible. Your philosophy put its trust in people. So you insist on individuals be held responsible for their actions. The NRA believes that America's laws were made to be obeyed and that our constitutional liberties are just as important today as 200 years ago. And by the way, the Constitution does not say that government shall decree the right to keep and bear arms. The Constitution says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Now, I kind of want to just say something about that right there. They look at the way they talk in the legislation and all that other crap that the corporate's doing. They keep calling them firearms or guns or weapons or something like that. They don't ever say arms, and that's where they get you. If you start calling firearms, you admit that what you have is theirs, under their control. If you say arms, then that's the Constitution. Right to bear arms. That's everything from a butter knife, a finger, because there are living men and women out there that can do some serious damage with a finger. All the way up to a intercontinental missile. Those are arms. They cannot be infringed upon. But you start calling firearms, or weapons of mass destruction, or deadly weapons, or whatever, then they got you. And that's the simple fact, in my opinion. But with that, I'm going to open it up and see if anybody's got something to say against what I just said.
All participants are unmuted.
All right, guys, grill me. Say how stupid I sounded. Hello, is this thing on?
You're on.
Oh, I am on. Okay. So evidently, what I said made sense, right?
Yes.
Confirmation. My life is complete. Sorry, I'm extremely exhausted today. I don't really know why, but it's probably because of all the stupidity of the stupid bull. But still. All right. Eventually, unless we manage to figure out the right way to do it, they quote it, or they wrote it, we quoted, aspect, what Ed's trying to do. Ed's trying to do it as peaceful way as possible. But eventually, with how stupid the American populace is, most of those living men and women out there that don't even want to get their heads out of their asses. Now, this is probably going to get flagged for being over the age thing, but if I'm going to do the show, I'm going to talk the way I want, and everybody can kiss my posterior as much as they can on a rainy day. Anyways, sooner or later, am I mistaken on this? Sooner or later, if we can't do it the way Ed is wanting to get it done, it might come to the Second Amendment. Anybody else have an opinion on that one?
What do you mean when it comes to the Second Amendment?
What is the Second Amendment?
Right to bear arms.
Shall not be infringed. And why would we want to bear arms?
Well, because all the numbnuts over in the Washington, D.C.
Oh, so bearing arms is not to go kill that squirrel out in your backyard. It's to regulate and control a tyrannical ruling federal government, correct?
Yeah, but then also that's what the Ninth Amendment says. We're supposed to be governing. We allow them to govern us as long as they don't get out of hand. But they're already so far out of hand.
Right, and they did it smart. They started programming us in school, and then they make sure that we all feel like we have to go out and get jobs instead of living on the land like we're originally supposed to do, using gold
Yeah,
and
but look at
silver.
all the money they make. Doesn't the court system make? I think I saw it on the YouTube. $1 trillion a day that the court system in America makes.
Yeah, well, if it's $1 trillion
That's a
a
lot of
day,
money.
what's
$1
our
trillion
national
a
debt?
day.
Yeah, and the child support makes $50 billion with a $1 billion a year off of parents. So the court system is, and them, they didn't just, how can I put it? They didn't just do it smart. They underhandedly did it to us, and they all they did was just turn around and just kept us even dumber because we put them in there thinking they were going to take care of us. And it's just like how you hire somebody to take care of a child, and what do? They turn around and beat the child, poison the child, do all this stuff, and everybody's like, "Oh, kill that." Well, same thing. That's what they've done to us.
Well, here's the thing. Back in the old days, uh, what they did to oath breakers was they would take them to the nearest uh,
Pretty.
crossroads
Hang on.
intersection and hang them all night to basically as a example to all other potential oath breakers that when you break an oath, this is what happens. Then we had the Democrats show up, and guess what? All of a sudden, we're all worried about everybody's feelers, and we're becoming pussies. That's what it is. Yeah, I'm on a talk show. I'm talking, but I can guarantee you, I do not have any firearms. I do not have any automatic weapons. I do not have any of that. What I do have is arms. I got a left one and a right one, and those are attached, or hands are attached to them. I can make and use objects to defend myself. So if it ever comes down to it, I will defend myself and my bloodline. And yes, bloodlines do exist. Like I prompted Ed to say a long time ago. If bloodlines didn't exist, then why does the uh, royalty of England intermarry so much that they're basically incest?
Yeah, but Links. The thing is that going off of the constitutional patriots, as they have said just about every time they've come on, uh, Democrats want these people in our country, and the thing is that they're having a hard time finding people to fill those gaps in those borders, because as was it? I can't remember the gentleman's name that is in charge of the constitutional patriots, but they lost a guy because he was out there trying to, you know, make sure everything was okay and notify the border patrol, and he ended up getting shot. These people are shooting across the border and at our people, at Americans, and nobody really cares. The news does not even cover it. No, but then the Democrats, they want these people to come over, but then they also want us to be regulated by getting rid of the bump stocks because oh my goodness, that's a automatic weapon.
Well, the
No,
bump
it's a
stocks.
semi.
I've seen somebody not even use a bump stock, but make that object like a bump stock. He used his belt loop. What are you going to do? Take away the belt loops? Well, most of these kids
Oh, that's not.
nowadays will be happier than hell because then they'll have a reason to have saggy pants all the way down to their knees.
No, I've seen a guy with a six-cylinder revolver, and he fired it just as fast, if not faster, than a bump stock. So what are you gonna do? Take his finger?
Well, yeah. I mean, the Democrats, they they seem to be in turmoil and everything, but this is all part of a plan. Same with the damn Republicans too. If you want to be part of a party in any way, do non-affiliate or do Constitution Party. You don't do Republican or Democrat. I mean, that's all you ever see. And you hear about left wing, right wing. Guess what? They're two different wings of the same damn vulture that is pecking your eyes out while you are staked to the ground under debt, under basic modern day slavery. You don't worry about parties, left or right, liberal or conservative or anything like that. None of those matter. What matters is your bloodline and your freedom and the Constitution, not executive
Yes,
those orders.
but links.
May I?
Go ahead,
Go ahead.
On the corruption that took place years ago on the Barbary Coast, the California Barbary Coast, it was more corrupt then than it is today. But finally, the people had enough, and they went down to the courthouses and went in the courthouses and threw the judges out the window. They hung the judges by rope tied to desks or whatever they could tie them to. Other people that were cohorts of the judges that were stealing people's property and fining the heck out of them. That's how they cleaned it up, was just a large group of the community said enough's enough and went down to the courthouse and cleaned house. And some of the people that were working in the courthouse pulled up in their horse and wagon and seen that group of people, and they didn't even go home. When they saw them judges and other cops hanging outside them windows, they just slapped the horses on the butt and they got the heck out of there. When they went to these homes where these other people lived that were in cohorts with the judges and cops, what have you, they opened their safes up and found all kinds of money. I mean, them guys had gold and silver in them safes, wouldn't quit. But they were afraid for their lives and left the county. Who knows where they went? But, just imagine what would happen if enough people go to the courthouse and say enough's enough. Are you going to uphold the Constitution, or are you going to commit treason? I want to know right now. Here's a piece of paper. I need you to sign the paper. Or leave. And any monies you've been paid in the past
are forfeit.
That's right. You owe it back to we the people, the government. But the example was set in California, on the Barbary Coast.
But that's the problem. I personally have done a lot of research into the past and stuff like that, and I never heard of that because they do their best to hide stuff like that, saying they want us to believe, like a good friend of mine that I've been talking with. He's he considers himself liberal. He thinks himself progressive, all that other crap. But the thing is, he actually believes that it is too corrupt to do anything about. He thinks it is too big to do anything about. And
I wish he'd study the Barbary Coast when they cleaned it up and how they did it.
No, yeah, but that was back when there was the horses. This is the I'm gonna play devil's advocate kind of thing on this. This is the excuses they give. that was back then whenever you didn't have as much information or as quick response as you do nowadays. If somebody tried to do that to a courthouse nowadays, you'd have the Coast Guard, you'd have the Army, you'd have the SWAT team all there just dealing with. That's bull. In all honesty, in the end,
No, I absolutely disagree with you. I had over 300 people in a courtroom case not so long ago, and most people that were ever in the courthouse, over 300 people. I didn't have all them people there. Brought in a few extra cops. The sheriff, all the sheriff's deputies, and the sheriff was there. They had to cancel everything, but and there was a few city cops. But other than that, I had over 300 people in the courtroom. The courtroom wouldn't hold them all, so they were down the hallway, down the steps, and some of them were taking up the entrance where the people would walk into the courthouse. But the point is, they were there. We didn't have the National Guard coming. We didn't have, the sheriff says, "Well, what do you want? What do you want?" I told him what I wanted, and that's what we got, and the case was over.
Right, but if you were going to start hanging the judges and stuff like that, when did they call in those kind of things?
How do you think I got the U.S. Marshal to come in the courtroom? It was laid on to him. It was for treason.
Oh, okay.
31 people had signed a document against the judge for treason. So here come the U.S. Marshal with 2 esquires, and the judge says, "I declare this a mistrial. All charges are dismissed."
Yeah. Well, the thing is, how the hell did you get 300 people?
I thought I was going to get 20 people. I says, "Invite some of your friends," and I'll invite a few friends, and told them a little bit about what the case was about, barely, and wanted to see if the judge was going to obey the law or commit treason. And everybody told everybody, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, I ended up having to park 2 blocks away.
Well, there you go.
I mean, the people were there before I got there.
That's the case right there. You don't have to go to the full-on violence. You got to be ready to defend yourself, defend your life, because that is one.
Nobody had, yeah, right. But nobody had guns, and nobody had knives. It was all peaceful, and that's the way I wanted it. I just wanted witnesses, we the people, and that's what I had to do.
They're afraid of.
That's right.
We the people.
You don't have to go in the courtroom with nothing but people that are willing to do an affidavit.
And you said you got, what, 31 that autograph?
That was in another case. In another case, I had 31 people signed a criminal complaint and marked the box where the judge committed treason. And I had all kinds of different statements that people would put in, 1 or 2, 3 or 4 sentences regarding the actions of the judge. I thought it was beautiful.
Oh, yeah. But that's the problem nowadays, is who's gonna stand up? They're too busy. Oh, I don't want to rock the boat, or oh, I've got a soap opera I gotta watch after I get home from work. I don't have time. Oh, I gotta go see what the Kardashians are doing. I mean, that kind of is what
I know. It is a problem because sometimes people have to take a few hours off or a day off from work or a half a day off from work. I realize it's a problem. But once in a while, people got to do what they need to do, too. Yeah. I was surprised when I thought maybe a minimum of 20 people would show up. If we were lucky, we might get 25 or 30. And when over 300 people showed up, I couldn't believe it.
10 times the number.
And I knew most of them, too.
Oh, okay, so you're one of those popular people out there.
No, I was, it was in our county, in Baker County, and I thought, well, gee, it was all local people for the most part.
Well, The
It was
problem,
a local case.
the problem I'm seeing, and I have stated in the past that I used to have a show, and uh, it was a show that was talking about anything that I learned or I researched. I mean, I was doing what Ed does, but not as deep as he does, and I did not do the using their rules against them. I just researched stories, research things that I was interested in, and eventually I got to the point I had over 300 subscribers to my channel, and the people loved it. I mean, they absolutely loved it. But the problem I saw was they'd agree with me like crazy while I was on the show. They'd be 100% behind me because I'm charismatic or whatever. But in the end, one day later, I would see their posts on Facebook that basically counteracted exactly what I was saying, and they agreed with. They go with people are stupid. It's that simple. I finally realized I'm not reaching a damn one of them. Maybe one or two I actually reached, and I actually got a chance to open their eyes. But I mean, like I said yet last night, the United Constitutional Patriots show, they're just now talking about HEK 293, and I knew about that years ago, and I put it on my show years ago. Who pays attention to something like that? Nobody anymore. They still want to have their Fritos. They still want to have their soda. They still want to have their beer. They still want to have all the amenities. They're not willing uh, to nut up and basically say, hey, we're willing to deal without these extra little uh, amenities, these creature comforts. We're not willing to deal without those because our lives would be less. They don't realize if they just go out into the woods, relax, pay attention to nature for a little while, all of a sudden their life calms down and they just focus and they realize what's important in their life. Me, I love to go into the woods and recharge regularly. Haven't been able to for a few years because I haven't been able to get to any woods nearby. And there's a woods 20 miles away, but I'm not walking 20 miles whenever walking 2 or 3 blocks will actually exhaust me. So, the problem is the creature comforts. They, as in the corporation, has pretty much taken away willpower. I mean, look at the infomercials. How many people buy things just because that looks like a quick, easy fix? Look, look at this Super Bowl. People spend thousands of dollars for season tickets just to watch a whole bunch of guys running around after a odd-shaped ball. And it's all scripted, and in the back of their mind they know it's scripted, but they want to believe. They want to believe the lie. That's the problem. They don't want to look at the truth because truth is scary.
Well, this is true, but remember, only approximately they claim 3% took on King George in the Revolution. So that small amount of people,
Right, exactly.
on the what? So.
And they used guerrilla tactics too. I loved it. They didn't just stand up in a line saying, "Okay, we're going to shoot at each other and blah blah blah," being honorable. No, it's we're fighting for our lives. Now that's something you need to really look at. The 3%ers, they didn't worry about honor other than protecting their families. They put their honor, their property, their lives on the line. They didn't worry about doing things in the proper way whenever they were doing the Civil War, because at that time it was Civil War. They were still British subjects that were fighting against Great Britain. The thing is, they used guerrilla tactics. They shot from bushes, from trees. They ambushed. They had the will to live, the will to survive, the will to actually make change. And that's what is missing in most of America today. Nobody has any will. Ed's got will. I mean, this guy is still kicking when so many of the snowflakes would have pretty much rolled over and said, "I'm done, just euthanize me," kind of crap. The will is the main thing. If you've got the will to do something, you will actually make a lot of waves. But if you don't have the will, you're going to be useless. You're going to be wishy-washy. There's a country song. You got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. That is true. Problem is, we got so many people don't even know what to stand for. But they listen to their friends. Now, my friend that I was talking about was liberal, extremely liberal and everything. He thought it was too hard to go against the corruption. I listened to him. I disagree with him. Him and I still are friends. You don't have to agree with everybody on every single thing. What you have to do is figure out what is most important in your life.
What's right, what's wrong?
Well, to a degree, but again, that's always open to interpretation. You got to figure out what is most important in your life. What can you do without? What do you have to have in your life? Me, I've got what I perceive as my destiny. I've got my wife, and I've got my children. I've got my bloodline. Those are the most important things in my life. Everything else can basically go away. I mean, the reason I focus on this show so much is because it is helping me protect the things that are most important in my life. If this wasn't helping me, like the constitutional judges, or no, the continental judges, or the marshals, those guys were idiots. And we now know they were idiots because, well, most of them are in prison. But they weren't helping anybody. They were trying out things and see if it works. Ed, this is for anybody that's watching and listening. Ed puts actual laws and actual documentation and proof behind what he puts forth. He doesn't do, "Oh, we got to try this." And if somebody comes up with a new idea, he says, "Hey, I want to see the proof. I want to see how it works." More often than not, that doesn't work. And nobody gives him any proof that it works. Basically, it's what we would have called barracks lawyers. Oh, if you go up to a cop or you go up to a police officer and say, "In my opinion," and then berate them, they can't do anything because that's your opinion. No, they can do something. They can do whatever the hell they want because you don't have any rights as a corporate citizen. So they can do whatever they want. But the barracks lawyers want you to try it out so they know if it works or not. A lot of these, oh, we can get you safe, we can get you out of the system kind of people. They say, "Give me money and I'll get you out of the system, or I'll show you how to get out of the system." Well, guess what? Most of those, 99.9% of those, are nothing but snake oil salesmen. And I know I've been rambling, so I'll shut up. Go ahead.
Well, everything is regulated by insurance. When you have an overwhelming amount of witnesses or people that will sign a document, you have a jury and or a grand jury. And I can remember years ago we used to just go in when there was an issue and had to have a hearing with the judge. We'd round up 13 men and 12 and 1 alternate and go in for the common law jury. And the guy would step up there and say, well, I'm here for my quick and speedy trial under the common law. I got a jury of my peers, and we just go in and sit in the jury box, all 13 of us, 12 and 1 alternate, and the judge would slap his whatever book he had open on the podium there, turn around and generally and run out. He'd abandon ship. Oh, it was a win.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately.
Who does the courtrooms belong to? Who's got the title to these courtrooms? Who does everything belong to? I thought we, the people, were supposed to be the power.
We were, but the problem is, ever since the corporation back in 1933 took over, I think that's the
well.
right date.
Oregon didn't incorporate till 53.
Okay, but still, ever since they got incorporated, it is not the people's court. It is the corporation court. And once you
Well, they have a conflict of interest, but
oh, go ahead.
they don't. That corporation has no authority then.
Exactly.
If all they're going to do, and if you have the documents, you show them, then they don't have authority unless you give it to them. That's why jurisdiction can be challenged.
Oh yeah, speaking of that, jurisdiction can be challenged. Where is that exactly?
You know, that's something that you just have to look up, because I used to know, but it's been too much time ago, and I don't know where it's at right now. I can't give it to you this minute.
That's not a problem. We'll try to find it, because I mean, anybody who steps in front of a judge, if they know their stuff, can challenge jurisdiction, because that is in the Constitution, right?
That's right. It's in Title 18, if I remember right.
We'll look it up in the future and see if we get it right. Because everybody always has that, oh, you're going to go to court thing hanging over their head. So if you start walking up to every courthouse that tries to pull you into their little game, you give them the power over you, and you challenge their jurisdiction every time, eventually they're just going to leave you alone. And if they don't,
that's what they do.
They'll pull a Hillary Clinton on you and kill you.
They'll just leave you alone. It's cheaper to leave you alone.
True.
Unless there got to be too many people
and that's
making the challenge.
Get it. I mean, I look at the courts we have nowadays. I look at the politicians, all these big corporations and banks, and there was a country that got rid of all their bankers. Evidently, they're free now. But
not all their bankers, just the Rothschild banks.
Oh, just the Rothschild banks? Okay. But effectively, I look at all these politicians, bankers, judges, bailiffs, all the courts and everything, all of that interconnected in the corporation like cockroaches. You walk into an apartment that's infested with cockroaches. You turn the lights on, what happens?
They scatter.
Exactly. They scatter. They run away because you shine the light on their illicit activities. They don't know what they'll do, so they go try to hide into darkness again and keep going doing what they were doing. But in the end, all you got to do is start shining the light and showing everyone what's happening in these courtrooms, and eventually they'll be gone, and we'll have Constitution oath taken judges, Article 3 courts out there. Not this whole tribunal courts that actually only have one. No, tribunal. Isn't that supposed to have at least 3 judges in it? Unless I messed up with my geometry, and I thought try was 3.
Try is 3.
So, I mean, you're supposed to have 3. Now, they could probably twist that around, say one judge, a defense attorney, and a prosecution attorney. That's 3 right there. Now, that's bull. Tribunal only works for corporations and military. Us as big C citizens, as Ed likes to put it, or as lawful bloodline Americans, we deserve and our right is a Article 3 court. That means your jury, a speedy trial, and that does not mean that you get your identity stolen by fingerprints, picture taken, social security number written down, and everything like that. And then you wait in a jail for months before you can go in front of the magistrate. Before they process you, you're supposed to go in front of the magistrate to decide if you did or did not commit the crime that they're claiming. Unless I'm wrong on that.
May I?
Go ahead.
Okay. On some of the jurisdiction that I use, references. Jurisdiction references. 18 USC, Section 2, 3, 4, 241, 242, and 42, United States Code, and Section 1983, Section 1985, and Section 1986. Sometimes I use more.
No.
And I come in under the peace flag, under 4 USC, Section 1. Okay? So I don't remember all the jurisdiction because I have to write it out sometimes and read it out because there's just too much law that sometimes. But that's our jurisdictions.
Okay.
And more.
Well, that right there, guys. There's proof. Go read them. Go listen to them. Go watch it. Whichever you want to do, YouTube and do that. Stay away from hip use, though. Trust me. Stay away from hip use. We've already caught him in quite a few lies and quite a few contradictions in the Constitution and what he says. I mean, he's flat out pretty much, he's supposed to do it because he's part of the corporation. But find out that information and dig deep. Don't just go to like Snopes, or don't just go to the first thing in Wikipedia or whatever. Dig deep. Find court cases. Find the actual original documents, the original Constitution. Look at that stuff. Don't go off of whatever all these barracks lawyers out there are putting up in their nice little. I'm still waiting to see proof for the peace flag and the wartime flag. I know that it's out there. I just the design of the vertical versus horizontal stripes and the blue field versus the white field. That is what I'm looking for, the actual proof, the actual documentation. Ed says he found it, but he sends me to sites that I know somebody just put up and wrote up there, and there's no actual documentation I can see. So I'm still waiting for that before I'm allowing that the peace flag that everybody else thinks. I'm not putting on the show anymore because why put something on there that could be completely wrong? But yeah, you got me on a tired moment, so I'm going to ramble quite a bit. Now, everybody, just go back another about 5 minutes, whenever this young man here was talking about what he uses for the jurisdiction, challenging of the jurisdiction, and research it.
And another criminal, may I? In another criminal complaint that I have used, I say jurisdiction, 18 USC 241, 242. References 42, United States Code, 1983, 1985, 1986. Filing and receiving is mandated pursuant to United States Code, Title 18, Section 4. A First Amendment petition for redress of grievances. This is all on jurisdiction.
Yeah, the redress of grievances.
Well, if what jurisdiction they
No, that's what a lot of people don't remember about the Constitution is the redress of grievances.
First Amendment petition for redress of grievances.
You can withhold taxes or withhold payment as a way to redress grievances. So yeah, and with that, we're gonna shut the show down on that because you got the information right there. That's good information. This man who gave you that information has won multiple court cases, has got them thrown out. Why? Because he knows his stuff and he has proven his method. You go try to find like the whole get the pink with purple polka dots passport. That whatever fantasy somebody concocts up, they haven't proven it. They do not have a track record of it consistently working. They're just trying to get your money, trying to get you in trouble. They're working for the corporation to make sure that the idiots out there get thrown into the private corporate jails. And then there's trillions of dollars there every year.
And incidentally, now, a portion of this is what I used to help a man, cowboy, years ago, a few years back. And that's what brought the U.S. Marshal into the case to arrest the judge. Because 31 people marked the box for judge committing treason. And these were my jurisdictions.
See, anybody who can get a U.S. Marshal to actually come after a judge has got to have a good track record. Because U.S. Marshals don't jump to just anybody, do they?
No, but this case became a big case, this particular case, because the airport got real busy. They were flying people in from back east, and they flew them in from London, England, and, they didn't know what to do. They said, the question they asked me says, Milt, what are we going to do with the real criminals now? I said, you don't have to worry. Nobody has figured this out. It's right in front of them, but they don't figure it out, I told them, just like I told them, if they don't figure it out, how can they understand it?
Exactly. And that's what we're trying to do is help people comprehend what's really happening out there. But
so the issue with the treason was real simple. Because all the judge had to do was agree to uphold all of his rights, and the judge wouldn't do it. So treason.
If the judge did that, if the judge actually upholded all of his rights, how would he have been able to put his retirement fund with the Dun & Bradstreet?
He couldn't. That's why he just declared a mistrial, and all charges were dismissed.
There you go. Like I said, the cockroach thing.
See, you got to understand, they have no intention of upholding your rights.
No, they don't. Their intention is to make sure that their retirement is as fat as possible.
Remember what I said, that I watched a YouTube here not so long ago. The court system makes, on the average is $1 trillion a day in America. That's a lot of money.
Yep.
But imagine a court system making over $300 trillion a year.
Yeah, see, no,
That's
no.
just court.
Yeah, that's just the court. That's not the private
Yeah, that's
slave
not the
encampments.
attorneys and everybody. Yeah.
Everybody talks about these FEMA camps and everything like that. Guess what? They're already here. They're called
They've been
penitentiaries.
they've been here a long time, and so have the guillotines.
Yep. And
But people don't care. So what do you do?
and that's the problem right there. People don't care. That's why I'm not trying to change anybody's viewpoint. I'm just here helping Ed out, helping him get his message out, and I'm working on making sure my family, my bloodline is protected all the way down until there is no more bloodline. I mean, eventually they may become sterile or whatever, but I'm going to try to make sure they have soil, they know how to live off the land, they know how to be self sufficient, and that they don't have to deal with all this corporate bull.
Well,
That's all I'm caring about. If I'm helping people out along the way
but,
by helping with Ed, that's great too. But I'm learning while this is going, and that's my main goal right
but just remember, they're trying to take all the property from everybody. The corporations are, and that's why they want to run everybody into FEMA camps and then do whatever they want with them and steal all the property.
there. Yeah.
After all, they can sell it to or give it away to the Chinese and other foreigners, people coming up from down south, and the Russians and the Guatemalans and everyone. These illegal immigrants want what you got.
Exactly. And the thing is,
And they might not protest them and fight like, they won't have all these papers that maybe you got.
no, they won't. That's self-sufficient is also being able to defend what is yours. Now we are at a war, guys. Everybody's like, oh, I'm waiting for shit to hit the fan. Guess what? It's already here. It's been building up for decades. It's been here for decades, and everybody's just going along with it. They're going with the Orwellian type of America. They're going with the we'll just give a little just to make sure that I can still have my ho hos and eat my Cheetos naked on a beanbag watching uh, Kardashians strut their stuff. It's bull. When you start waking up to what's been happening, then you realize you've been lied to, you've been chained, you have been deceived your whole life. Your parents, your grandparents, and their parents, your great great grandparents, have all been deceived.
Yeah, and they've been lied to. Don't forget all these treaties that have been violated.
Yep. And even the Constitution states that the treaties shall be, treaties and the Constitution shall be the law of the land, supreme law of the land. No, forget that. We'll just, it's a new age. Well, it's a new age. So guess what? If it's a new age and we don't have any rights, then shut the up and go into your nice little doggy kennel over there and
Well, that's what you need them to do. So you need them to tell you whether you got all these rights or not. You got to, why would you want to proceed if you don't have any rights?
exactly. So with that, we'll call it a night. We made almost a full hour, and full 55 minutes basically. So I know everybody's probably we got three watching YouTube right now. So we've got some people that were interested in this, some viewers who probably CIA, FBI, CNN. That's definitely fake news. Actually, all of it's fake news. Even Fox is fake news. But in the end, hopefully this message will get out to somebody. They'll listen to what you had said, Melt, and basically say, oh, I'm going to go research that, find out the truth, and even look at neworgantrackers.com. In there, under resources page, I believe, is a pamphlet that gives you a lot of information about the oaths of judges and what is actually Constitution, and how most of these judges that are sitting behind those desks, those high-rise, intimidate you like crazy type of podiums, most of them don't have an oath to hold that office. So effectively, that's fraud upon the court, right?
That's right.
And they're always trying to
But
get you in an Article 1 court because they know if they go to an Article 3 court and you know some of the stuff, even a fraction of the truth, they'll be screwed. So they're always trying to get you in the small claims courts or stuff like that, to where it's just the judge, the attorneys, and you. Nobody else, because they don't want. It's basically, consider it a secret organization meeting every single time you go into a little courtroom that only has a judge, the attorneys, maybe a few people is sitting. Most of them are going to be having their case come up, but effectively, it's a secret thing. I really don't know. They're a mafia. They're working behind the scenes. They don't want it public.
they sure don't want the people to know the truth.
Nope. Truth scares the hell out of them. So, with that, we will say goodnight, everybody. Thank you for listening to me rant most of the time. When I get tired like this, I tend to be very, very ranty. And thank you, the two callers that are almost always here. Sometimes you guys have sick days. I get that. Next time, but remember, you guys know your stuff. You're learning, and even if you know a lot, there's always more to learn. So never stop learning. They can take your cars, they can take your property, they can take everything from you. And unless they kill you, they cannot take the knowledge away from you. So learn, memorize it, research it until you're seeing it in your sleep. Believe me, that does happen. I am a witness to that actually happening. But that's the kind of stuff you need to do, because that's the best way you can protect yourself. Also learn how to survive without electricity. Go research what happened during the pioneer days. How did they survive? Go play Oregon Trail just for the fun of it. You'll get dysentery, but still, I mean, that's usually what happened in Oregon Trail, the video game. You try to get to Oregon and you'd die from dysentery. It pretty much was programmed in. You're gonna die from dysentery before you get to Oregon. But you just open your eyes, guys and gals. Open your eyes, open your mind. Do not put a religious overtone on anything. If you want to do a religious overtone, do a religion of a constitution. The actual organic constitution, the original constitution, not the corporate constitution. There is multiple constitutions out there. But think about this, guys. Ed's giving you a lot of information. Look at the old shows. He gives a crap ton. Let's keep it going. Learn it. Download them. Download the videos. Listen to them while you're going to work. Listen to them while you're exercising in the gym. don't listen to them while you're in Starbucks because somebody there's going to freak out and scream, and you'll be on YouTube and you'll be famous for like 2 days. So, with that, guys, have a good night, and we'll catch you next week where I'm going to make sure, unless he's kicked the bucket, Ed's going to be here because I'm tired of talking. So, have a good night.
Have a good night.